Hello and welcome to JROCK's Babylon. My name is Jason JROCK Houston, and we got two of the members of the band Hereafter. We got, of course, my good friend Mick Michaels, the guitarist and songwriter who I've known for many years. And with you, you've got your lead singer, Chris Natalini. Am I pronouncing the name right, Chris?
It's Natalini, but close enough. I'll take it.
Natalini.
You know
Okay, I
what?
got it now.
I like Natalini. That sounds like a wrestler name.
Italian, yeah.
And in
I'm
this
cool with that.
corner, Natalini.
Yeah. You could be the new Hulk Hogan. May he rest in peace.
Yeah. Rest in
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
we call Chris is the Evil Knievel of heavy metal, so that's pretty close, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Chris, since I've never talked to you before, and you're kind of a new guy here, why don't you share with us, if you're in any other bands and a little bit about who you are?
Well, I mean, like yourself, I've known Mick for a long time. I mean, we went to high school together.
Oh, wow.
So me and Mick go back a long ways. Again, my name is Chris Natalini. I've been doing this as long as Mick has, over 35 years. I'm currently in two bands now, Seeds of Perdition and Execution Order. And Seeds of Perdition's death metal, and Execution Order's kind of old school thrash. And that's it. I mean, that's pretty, we have the Cosmic Voice podcast and Mick and I, and that's it, man. Just, that's it. Been doing this for a long
let me
time.
ask you, Chris, I know everything that Mick is usually involved with. He's like the chief songwriter, but you being the singer, how involved were you with the songwriting for Hereafter?
For Hereafter, not really much at all. Mick kind of has a, because this is kind of his creation,
Sure.
From the start, he pretty much, he has a vision of what he wants Hereafter to be. And I'm totally okay with that. I'm not one of those guys that,
Sure.
Writes lyrics and is married to it. We got to do this. We got to, that stuff doesn't bother me at all. I always want to do what's best for the song. And, songwriters like Mick, who is, normally does a lot of that, already has that vision. So I just trust in guys like that, that are songwriters. And I just kind of, whatever makes the song better is all I care about. At the end of the day, I want it to be a great song. So if I have anything to do with it writing wise, or if someone else has 100%, that stuff doesn't bother me. As long as the song is what the songwriter envisioned it to be. And, sometimes that changes, as you kind of move on. Songwriting it's kind of like a river, right? It just kind of ebbs and flows. You start going one way, but it may end up somewhere else. But with Mick, because Hereafter is kind of his creation,
Sure.
I just kind of let him, lead the way. And if I have if I hear something or think of something or see something, then I'll say it. But he doesn't always have to, approve it either. But for the most part, I just kind of let Mick tell me what he needs from me, and then I'll do the best that I can.
I mean, even as somebody who's followed Mick's career, I can say, as far as a songwriter, he seems to have that secret sauce. Now, Mick, let me ask you, when you, how did you know that Chris was the frontman for Hereafter? I mean, you've known him all these years, but did he immediately come to mind when you put the band together?
Absolutely. Chris and I have known each other for a real long time. We were in a band for a short period of time in the 80s, but we kind of always ran in the same circle. And then we went our separate ways, as people do. But early on, even with some stuff I was doing with Corners, I was writing stuff that necessarily wasn't Corners material. I have a tendency to do that. I'm involved in a couple different projects over the years, and I tried my hand at different things. And there were some songs that I had Chris's voice in my head, and I said, this is something. Unfortunately, because of schedules and timing and Chris jet setting around the world or at the beach, we just couldn't do it. And it took the world shutting down and us doing a podcast together to be able to get to actually put some material together in a way that I had, always thought that we could. And I mean, and here we are 3 EPs later, and we're kind of, I'm excited about, listen, do I write a lot of material? Yes. Am I tied to it to the point like it has to be done this way? No. I mean, I write down ideas, I demo stuff, and I have that voice in my head, like Chris's voice in my head, or Mad T's drum style in my head, Bert's bass playing in my head. Even though I'm aware of other things, and whether you consider that I am considering them or not, I am, because otherwise I don't think it would be the way that it is. And so I lay it out, but then it's like I need that individual artist to lay what they're doing, their style, their essence into the music. And that's where we're at. I mean, when we're in the studio with now the last two EPs, Chris and I were able to get together. The first EP was recorded remotely for all of us because of COVID. It just didn't,
That had to be done.
Right. But like if he goes, hey, would you mind if I said it this way, or I did it this way, or maybe, and I'm like, yeah, do it, whatever. Because I just like with Chris, whatever makes the song better. If I'm so tied to a lyric, I might as well just do it myself. And you don't want to hear that. Right.
Sure.
I mean, I demo voices, but you don't want to hear me singing. So that's why, you bring in pros that can do that, and they cover all the bases. And if you put restrictions on what their style and ability is or can be, then you're only doing a detriment to the song, to the project, and to the collaboration. Hence, why would you be doing a collaboration if you're not utilizing that artist's abilities? So
I got to ask you, Chris. Mick recently shared with me that he thought for a while about Hereafter kind of as a side project. He wasn't sure he was going to do anything more with it, and then I think he said it was you and some other band members that kind of were saying, hey, let's get Hereafter back together. So talk a little bit about that.
It did. It started off as, like Mick had said, it started off as a conversation where, during COVID, Mick was like, hey, I got this idea. And, I was totally for it because working with Mick, and it's funny because I just said this on another interview we just recently did. Usually anytime Mick comes to me and goes, hey, Chris, I have an idea, I go, yeah, I'm in. Just tell me what I need to do. Like, I mean, that's the confidence that I have in Mick, right? So, when kind of Hereafter, I guess, I don't know how, I mean, I guess we kind of looked at it as like a side thing. Like, we didn't at the time of the first EP, we didn't really talk about, hey, will there be shows? Hey, is there going to be merch? Hey, we just put these songs together, put the EP out, and see. And then the second one kind of happened. And then the second one kind of got a little more, traction on it. And then I guess randomly, we had just said this in another interview. I just randomly said one day, I think we were recording for the Cosmic Voice, or we were about to, or we just got done, whatever it is. I just said, hey, like, where do we, what's going on with Hereafter? Like, are we doing a third one? And Mick was like, well, I haven't really given it much thought. And in Mick's style, like 2 or 3 weeks later, I had, a full demo emailed to me. So, it was kind of like one of those things. And now with, now with Fire Rock Music and all, all these things going on, it's kind of like now it's picking up more traction. Now we have merch, and, now there's just more stuff going on. So to me, I don't look at it as a side project. It's kind of, for me, I'm looking at it as, oh, this is something that I'm carrying with me every day on my resume. When people go, like yourself, go, hey, what bands are you in right now? Now Hereafter is kind of in my current roster of projects, because now it's a little more, it's different than what it started out to be.
It's cool that you take that pride in it, Chris, as you should, because it's something you're very much a part of. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag for people watching this, that as far as the digital release, which people can get on through Fire Rock Music Group, I'm the A&R guy that brought the band to the label. Me and Mick were talking about it, and we talked to my boss, Tom Collier, and so that's how that happened. But while you're on the subject of merchandise, I also urge people to go to www.firerockgroupmusic.com, where there's a Hereafter band page. You'll also find a great merch page that you guys have. I went on there today myself to just check it out for the first time. It's totally awesome. I mean, I forget the numbers, but it's like over 100 different types of merch. Everything from hoodies to t-shirts, pajamas. So I urge people to go and check that out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is very cool, and I appreciate the work you guys did on it. I thank you so much. Mick had sent me the link. I guess it was might have been yesterday or
Yeah,
Thursday
yeah,
afternoon, whatever it was, and I was flipping through it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm definitely getting a coffee mug like this.
yeah, yeah,
It's kind of awesome."
yeah, yeah.
I can see Bert. I can see Bert in the Hereafter pajamas, though.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Those late nights on the tour bus, huh, guys?
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, you know it. You know it.
And I can tell you guys are really tight as friends, going all the way back to high school. I mean, your backgrounds are very similar. You got the rock images on the back of the wall in both your
Well,
offices.
listen, we're very old school also. Like me and Mick also know the importance of image, right? Or,
Yeah,
like this kind of stuff. You
yeah.
don't, like Mick was joking, but the last time we did an interview, I did on the beach because Mick had said to me, he's like, "Hey,
It was just
do you want to do this interview?" And I'm
yeah.
like I thought to myself, I'm like, well, I'm gonna be on the beach. Like that's kind of a really cool lead singer thing to do. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of in. Like I will totally do that. So I was able to do it from the beach, and it was fantastic.
I,
Because I'm
I, I
like,
gotta I gotta tell you, it's funny you say that, Chris, because right before you came on, I was saying something to the fact, "Oh, we're just waiting for Chris to come on," and Mick said, "Yeah, I'm not sure if he'll be coming from an airplane or the beach."
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So, but no, I'm in my studio today. I'm doing some work for a project that I got coming up. So so I'm
yeah.
in my studio today. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And obviously, you mentioned that you guys do the Cosmic View show together. I know you've been doing that for a while now. How many years? And talk about how much fun that must be doing together.
I mean, we've done 7 seasons over the course of the last 5.5 years, and again, we've talked about this on the show. We started it um, during COVID. It was just something that it seemed like the right time, but it was already in the works before like the world shut down. But we just didn't talk, and then it was like, well, hey, here we are, right? And
Good, yeah.
I don't think it's something that we planned to do long term. It was just like, hey, we'll do a couple shows, we'll see how it goes, and we'll talk about whatever, and then life will some point go back to normal, and then we'll get back to doing what we're doing. And the show's done better than we've expected. It won an award, I think, in season 6.
Oh wow.
It's in the
Yeah.
top 10 in Apple Podcasts under artist collaborations, and which was totally amazing to us. The show's been syndicated several times. I think in our first couple seasons we were syndicated on 6 internet radio stations, which, believe it or not, was more work than we wanted to do. So we kind of came to close with that, and then we said we're just going to stick to our own rivers and lakes that we're used to. And then we were approached again by Wild Dogs Radio, and the show's been syndicated on there once a week, and the numbers for that on a Saturday at 5 p.m. are unbelievable. I didn't think that internet radio had that kind of punch anymore, considering with Sirius XM and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
people, the attention span. But I mean, it's really been an amazing ride of me and Chris doing what we've always done, just shooting the crap and talking about music. I mean, since we were teenagers, that's all we've ever done.
And it's got to be a different thing for you in the sense that usually you're the one being interviewed, whereas now you're kind of turning the tables and having fellow musicians on.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
go ahead,
No,
Chris.
I was just gonna say, yeah, like the idea behind it too was, we wanted to put it because me and Mick have been doing this for so long,
Sure.
and we wanted to put out information that was helpful to somebody up and coming, and somebody learning the business, and we would just want to get information out there that maybe some people don't know, and tell share our experiences, whether they worked or that they didn't,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then obviously you have to kind of put in your own work and see how it goes. But we were giving experiences from our own career
Yeah.
in music, and sharing in those experiences. And I think that's important. There was a short time that I was booking the Trocadero here in Philly, and I did it for a couple years with a friend of mine, and the one really cool thing I really enjoyed about it was I'd meet these young bands like up and coming.
Yeah.
And they would always go, in conversation, I was always go, oh, I did this and I got to do this. And they'd be like, oh my God, how did you do that? And it's really cool to kind of share that, this is how I did it. So when Mick kind of came up with the idea, I was like, yeah, I am totally, again, Mick ass, I'm there. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, like that's really cool that we'd be able to share these experiences. And Mick and I, in the seasons that we've been doing it, have kind of expanded the show a little bit. We've done some things about documentaries and Christmas music. We have had little specials, but for the most part, we're still putting that information out there. And I think more than now, it's even more important because the industry is such a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. When you
And
do a show like that, it just kind of evolves, as you do it.
oh, every week, Mick usually has an outline of things we're going to discuss through the
Yeah.
season,
Yeah.
and it's constantly evolving. It's kind of like, oh, well, we can't do this now because this came up, and we'll throw this in, or he'll have to switch shows because maybe something happened, and we'd already talked about it, but now we got to change it. Like it's constantly evolving, and just changing. So we're always trying to stay on top of it.
That's a great way to keep things fresh. Now getting back to Hereafter, I got to tell you guys, most of the time I'm old school like you, and I just love it when a band puts out like a full length album of all new music, like 10 great tracks, whatever. Now, we only get 5 tracks here. It's a great EP, but I got to tell you, it's one of those cases where you leave them wanting more. And I think in this case, it's a good way to do it because it doesn't seem like just a 3 or 4 song EP, if you know what I mean. It seems like you're getting a loaded dose of fresh new metal.
Well, yeah, listen, like Chris has always said, you hit him off with Detroit Rock City, you end with rock and roll all night. But
Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer of, because we do it with in corners, we do it with the live set as well. I'm a firm believer is if they give you 30 minutes and you can wrap things up in 26, why go over your time? Why push the limit? Leave them hanging with a little bit more. That's kind of exciting. It's like you want that. Oh, I just a little bit more would be great. It's like at the end of that roller coaster ride that just seems to always be just a little too short. I waited 6 hours for 35 seconds.
Yeah.
If you just made it 40 seconds, the 6 hours wouldn't have been so bad. But I think that there's and so what do? You get back in line for another 6.5 hours to do that,
So I've been watching some of these interviews you guys have been doing to promote Hereafter, and you've been bringing up the fact that in regards to the band sound, you describe it as kind of like doom gloom metal, which I think is perfect doom groove. Yeah, that's it. Perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, because it's not sad and depressing per se. It does have that haunting sound to it, but there's an upbeat tempo. And like I've said in other interviews, and I mean I'm going to stick by it. I think that's the relationship of the drums and the bass, creating that groove.
Yeah.
I'm just backlining it with some melody and some chords, and of course, Chris is providing the narration. But it's that backbone of the bass and the drums, what Mad T and Bert are doing, that I think is giving it that groove feeling. Rather than, I think if that was taken out and those beats were brought down to then you would have straight up doom, and I don't think that's what we wanted. And I knew that putting everybody together, especially since I'm not by trade a thrash guy, and I didn't want to insult either Bert or Chris, who are thrash guys, pros at it. I figured, well, let's go with something that's a little bit more in the middle of the two.
Yeah.
So
it kind of reminds me of those classic early Sabbath albums where Tony Iommi, the riff master, is a key part of that sound, but Geezer and Bill were obviously a big part also as well.
Yeah.
Equally.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, actually, the only thing I have in common is I'm left-handed. Other than that, he knew more chords than I did, So
yeah.
But thank you for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, some of the stuff sounds like kind of a cross between like Klassen, Maiden, and Priest. And I think Doom Groove is a great description because I don't want people to think, oh, this is a band that's trying to be like Judas Priest. That's just kind of your influences coming out. But what's unique about it, you definitely got your own sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so again, I'm going to besides, like as Chris pointed out, yeah, okay, maybe I put some of the material together, but what makes it unique is the collaboration of the artists and their voices. I firmly believe that, because
Yeah.
how it sounded in the demo, how the finished product is way different, which it should be. It should be 100 times better, and I think that it is. But you're talking about 4 artists that have come from different backgrounds, similar backgrounds. There may have been some overlap because there's a shared experience in that. We're all guys that have been out there playing in the local and regional scenes, experiencing this stuff. But then everybody gets into their niche, and it's bringing that niche together. And all of a sudden, we're creating something that's different, but still kind of in the same vein as what everything else is. It's not that we're so far over here that people can't grab to it.
Sure.
There's enough of a familiar essence to it that you can go, okay, I can get with this. But then there's something different, because you're taking 4 artists with different playing styles, different focus, and then you're making it work. And I think that's probably, for me as a songwriter, that's more exciting than anything else.
Yeah, and I would think too, Mick, like if you were to put another band together, a bunch of different guys, and it still sounded like Corners of Sanctuary, it's kind of like, what's the point of doing that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because I mean, I'm not sure I want to do what I'm already doing. So, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get somebody to take my place at this point. You know what I mean?
Also, hey, I got to ask you, Mick, that's kind of like a Gene Simmons thing to say, like, I'm going to find my own replacement in Kiss.
Yeah, well, if I can get that kind of money, I'm signing me up, baby. Say, come on. The only thing is they got to be taller than me. They got to be taller. I got to get height somewhere, right?
Yeah. And now I got to ask you, Chris, because like I said, I know a lot about Mick's influences and stuff, but who are the singers growing up that were kind of your heroes, that influenced you to do what you're doing?
I mean, growing up, I had guys like David Lee Roth, Paul Stanley,
Okay.
Bret Michaels, Rob Halford, even though I don't sing like that. But, in terms of like that growing up, like they were my main guys, right? Dee Snider.
Yeah.
And then as I kind of got older and found myself into heavy metal, it was, Paul Bailoff and Steve Suzo both from Exodus, and Chuck Billy from Testament, and, Dee Dee Verney of, Bobby Blitz from Overkill.
Yeah. That's a wide range of everybody from, like you said, Bret Michaels to Rob Halford and Chuck Billy. So that's a wide range of influence, but there's nothing wrong with that, because I think the more you're influenced by different types of music, the better the music will be.
Oh yeah, I'm a firm believer in, even though I don't, I'm a firm believer in, if somebody doesn't like whatever genre of music it is, you can at least go, okay, like, because I will start a conversation. If somebody goes, oh, I don't like that death metal, I don't like it. Why don't you like it? Well, I don't like the vocals. Okay, cool. Like, I get that. As long as you give me a reason why you don't like it, then I'm all in. But for me, I just kind of go, there's so many different experiences in music, right? Like, you could always pull something from somebody. I was a huge Ice-T guy when I was a kid. When Ice-T kind of, even before the Body Count stuff, when the West Coast gangster rap was kind of coming up, like the Ice-T, Ice Cube, I was a huge Ice-T guy. And what I really liked about his lyrics were, he was such a gangster, but if you really listen to his lyrics, they're filled with such positivity. Yeah. And, and I really kind of took that attitude. I was like, man, this is a guy who had a horrible childhood and still writing these positive lyrics. And so to me, no matter what kind of stuff you do, no matter what what kind of genre you're in, you could always find that positive spin on it. And I guess I just followed that kind of suit, like those guys that just kind of, everybody had different experiences, but all pulled into one. It's
interesting you say that, Chris, because I myself am typically a hard rock metal guy, but I'll be honest with you, I also listen everything from Tom Petty, the Eagles, Rod Stewart. I'll tell you why, because when I was growing up, I'll be honest, that's stuff my mom and dad were playing in the car.
100%.
And those songs are still being played on the radio 50 years later. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, and it's such a shame. Even in our podcast, me and Mick talk about it. Like, music is such. It's just there's just so much bad stuff out there. Again,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
enjoy it, and that's cool. But for me and Mick, guys that are cooped up in a room and we're songwriting, we're not just sitting down at a computer and hitting a
yeah,
button. Um, there's just so much stuff out there. So I think guys like us always go backwards because
sure,
that's when the music that's when they were real musicians, real
sure,
artists
yeah,
writing and recording, and that's important to guys like us.
yeah,
So I'm kind of the same way. There's a lot of acts that I didn't even listen to growing up that I now listen to, in just a
yeah, yeah,
maybe a Sunday when I'm cutting the grass or whatever, because you just you're experiencing these things now because what we like as artists and music lovers, we're not getting that from what's out there today.
sure,
So
sure,
we have to go backwards and
sure,
get it from somewhere else. And that's, like, just like you, my parents they were big music people, but they weren't musically inclined. So there
yeah,
was a
yeah,
lot of music in my house. So again, like you, I remember all that. Frank Sinatra's, the Rat Packs. You had your,
sure.
Tony Bennett, Barry
Beach Boys, the
Manilow.
Beatles. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. The Spinners and,
yeah.
the Philly Sound and all that. So
There you go.
all of that kind of comes out as I've gotten older. I
Yeah,
kind of go
yeah.
back.
And I think you bring up Ice-T. He's another interesting cat because, again, I'm not too much into rap, but he's one of those guys that I'm aware of who he is. Like a lot of people, he has a very different career now. He's also into acting, but I think a lot of reason for his success is anybody that ever listened to an Ice-T song, um, you believe that he lived. You don't believe he's a
Yeah,
wannabe gangster.
that's
It's
right.
authentic. It's authentic.
That's right.
That's
That's right.
yeah,
You're getting real life stuff, and I think, to me, I think
yeah,
lyrically that's important, and that's another thing. Coming from the Hereafter stuff, like I think it's important. I think lyrics are important, and they could be, sci-fi, they could be fantasy, whatever it is. But I think lyrics are important, and when you
sure,
can get
sure.
a positive message out of it, out of something, I think that's really important, especially nowadays, because so many places are, everything is so toxic now. Your
Yeah.
TV, your internet. So if you're listening to music and you can get something positive out of it, I think it's nothing but a great thing.
Yeah, and I'm going to share with you, Chris, because I told Mick this already the last time I interviewed him about a month ago. Another thing I think that's great about Hereafter, I know you guys don't have a name for it. You should really come up with a name or maybe run a contest. But the Hereafter monster or creature, the mascot, whatever you want to call it, on the
I
cover.
know. I saw that interview. I know. I remember.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a unique thing about Maiden. We brought them up once before about today about the fact that you kind of remind me of kind of classic Maiden with the cross of classic Judas Priest. But anyways, they were always great at marketing their albums for a simple fact.
Yeah.
I guess the band thought they were too ugly to appear on the front cover, so they had that great Eddie mascot. But it sold a lot of records, and I remember the first time I ever saw Number of the Beast in the store, being about a 10-year-old
Oh
kid, not
yeah.
knowing what it was. I don't know
Yep.
what the hell that is. It looks so cool, though. I have to
Yep.
get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I listen. I'm in my 50s. I still buy records that way.
I'll tell you what.
If I'm somewhere and I see a cool album cover, I'm in,
Yeah,
because that's how me and Mick used to shop back in the day. It was
yeah.
all
I'll tell you
done
what,
by album
guys.
covers.
I'll tell you guys what. Once you come up with a name for it, you should start like having a lot of T-shirts with that monster on there because I think it'd be a great way to market Hereafter. In fact, just to let you guys know while I'm talking to you, I was talking to Tom today, the president of JROCK, and he was telling me anytime you guys like have new merchandise design, we just need one of those pictures and we can add it.
Okay.
Nice. I'm all in. Whatever.
Yeah.
I agree. He should have a name. I agree.
Yeah.
Especially for the fourth record.
Yeah. That's something to look for. Now, before we wrap it up for today, I know it's like picking your favorite child here, but of the 5 songs on the new EP, could you guys each possibly pick your favorite song or a song that's really close to your heart?
Mick,
Oh,
you first.
wow, that's a tough one. If you gave me all three EPs, I could give you that one. But
yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, the song that we released, "Bringing the Hell," really kind of states it, like whatever you're going to do. And it's not about it's not negativity. Like, oh, I'm
Sure.
bringing the devil up with me.
Yeah.
It's just that whatever I'm doing, I am doing, 2, 3, 400%. There's no turning back, and it is what it is. I'm taking it all in, the good, the bad, whatever, but I'm taking responsibility for it. And I think that creates a different perspective. That means that what I'm doing, I feel is important. And that's the attitude, I think. Listen, a lot of things today, and I'm going to maybe slightly digress a little bit. I think that a lot of things today have been dismissed for what people do, what people say. There's just so much, everybody today thinks they have something to offer, but really they're not offering anybody anything because they only go so far or whatever. And they're not doing it, in my opinion, in the right light. But I think that, like, especially for artists, if we're going to survive, if we're going to overcome AI and streaming issues and clubs closing, that we just got to put it out there. And whatever it is, it is. And perfection isn't something that we can even consider because it doesn't even exist. I know especially now, because I was just watching something not too long ago, people want, the generation today want music completely perfect.
Yeah.
They're trying to quantify like old Zeppelin stuff, like Bonham and stuff. And then they do it, and the whole feeling of the song is lost. Like, I've seen shows on it, how they put it into the box, and all of a sudden he's in time and stuff, but it isn't the same song anymore. So to me, hey, if it's a little wavery here, it doesn't sound as that it's the human condition, right? It's what's gotten us where we're supposed to be. And if we start taking that away, we've lost it. So I want to bring the hell every time we do something.
That's a great. I'm glad you talked a little bit about that, because now we know what that song's about. How about you, Chris? What's one of the songs that's close to your heart? And then we'll wrap it up for today.
I think Bringing the Hell for me also. I think I have a different take on it, why I like that song. It's not as deep as Mick's. There was something about that song that really attracted me to it. I don't know. Obviously, the lyrics, all of Mick's lyrics usually are very inspiring to me, but the melodies, the change of the song, the way I got to kind of rearrange my vocal style a little bit, which really kind of stands out for me. And it was our first single, which is usually,
there you go.
That's usually that. Yeah, that's usually the one. But I'm bringing the hell too, because it is what it says. We're bringing the hell. I mean, this is, look out, we're coming. And, the album cover shows it, and the title is pretty much, it's simple. We're bringing the hell.
Says it all.
And and so it pretty much says it all. So Bringing the Hell is also my favorite. Off the new record.
I'd like to thank you guys. It was nice getting to know you, Chris, and we'll definitely have you guys back on down the line. So everybody go check out Hereafter's Roads to Nowhere, and support the band. Get some merchandise at firerockmusicgroup.com, and we'll see you guys later. The interview I'm going to put up in just a little bit. So once it's up, I'll send you guys the link, and you can do what you want with it, okay?
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate you having us, man.
Anytime,
Thank
man.
you.
Bye-bye.
See you, brother.
Bye.
Mick, I'll talk to you.